Okay, hi. This is the video on the conclusion stage for the inner critic pattern, and also a discussion of where to go next, what you might want to do next. So you can see that this conclusion stage is really just a simple one with three little pages at the end here. And the first one is really just, is not necessary, but if you're interested in learning about how the inner critic pattern fits into the pattern system, you can, instead of clicking here, this link is actually bad, you can click here, which shows you more about the self-esteem and dimension of the pattern system and how the inner critic fits in there, which I won't bother with right now. Okay, and we'll go on to the next page. And this is if you want additional help in working on your inner critic. You can get my book, Freedom from Your Inner Critic, co-authored with my wife, Bonnie Weiss, or also our book, Activating Your Inner Champion Instead of Your Inner Critic. And also, I offer courses on transforming your inner critic, one of which, of course, you're currently taking, but the other one is available in the future. There will be another course, probably in the fall, which is a more personalized, intensive 6-week course by video conference with a small group of 12 people, with me directly teaching the entire 12 hours of course, where I actually teach you to use IFS. You learn IFS, and you learn how to do it with a partner or on your own, not just doing guided meditations using self-therapy journeys. So it takes you more deeply into learning to use IFS to work on your inner critic, and of course other things as well. And you can also learn even more about IFS, which I'll talk about in another video. Okay, and then the last page here is the conclusion page, and really discussion of where to go next. So whenever you want to decide where to go next, the first thing you do is go to your dashboard. And so I'll click here and show you the dashboard. And here is all kinds of possibilities. So one is if you want to get a hold of your practice pages for doing your practice, here's a way to do it. And here is a listing of practice pages by pattern. So if you were doing the inner critic pattern, it's down here, and you can get your access to your three practice pages here. Or if you're doing one of the others like perfectionist, they would be here, and so on. So let me go back to the dashboard. Also, if you want to check on the reports that you've generated in doing your inner critic, you can click here. And so here would be your inner critic pattern report. Here would be your self-esteem report, and whatever wounds you've done, those reports are here. So you can access all of those reports that way. The other thing now, if you want to begin exploring an entirely new pattern or capacity, you can click here, which takes you to the page where you can click on a list of patterns, or you can take a quiz, list of capacities, list of psychological issues, lots of different ways to explore and find a new pattern that you might want to start on. However, the other possibility is that as you've been going through your inner critic pattern, or one of the specific types of inner critics like taskmaster, perfectionist, food controller, or so on, you might have noticed already some patterns or capacities that you wanted to explore. and you put them on a to explore list, and here's where you can find the to explore list here. So here, maybe you said, oh, I want to do the taskmaster pattern or the defensive pattern, and you put those on the list, they'll show up here. Same with capacities you might want to have said you wanted to explore, or wounds that you said you wanted to explore in the future, or meditations that you didn't do at the time but wanted to do in the future. Those will all be here on the to explore lists. So that's pretty much the important stuff from the dashboard. Now let's go back here. So now you've come to the end of this first round of working on your inner critic pattern, but here's some various options. So remember, in stages 4 and 5, you chose a practice situation for practicing activating your self-esteem capacity or some other capacity in certain practice situations in your life where normally your inner critic attacks you. If you want to go back and redo stages 4 and 5 with a different practice situation, you can do that. So you would click on stage 4 over here, and that would take you back, and you can choose a new practice situation and go through stages 4 and 5 again, or even just stage 5 again if you want to. Now, here's another possibility. So in this case, you've been working on developing your self-esteem capacity as help in transforming your inner critic pattern. That's been built into what you've been doing. That's because the self-esteem capacity is paired with the inner critic pattern, because it's the capacity that most frequently helps in transforming that pattern. However, there are other capacities that might also help. And so here's a list of some of them. So social confidence capacity, courage, assertiveness, work confidence, ease. Those are additional capacities you might want to help to develop. You might want to develop to help transform your inner critic. So you can click on any of those and work on developing those. Okay, so I'll close that, coming back here. Now, at some point in the future, you might want to return to your inner critic pattern and work on it further, maybe because you've learned more about how it operates in your life, or you may have become more able to access hidden parts and therefore go deeper in your work. So you can return to this at any time, and that's through the dashboard. Maybe I should show you how to do that. If we go back to the dashboard, you would go to the status and restart page, and you would find, in this case, inner critic here, and you could either restart, well, in this case, you've probably finished it, so you probably wouldn't want to restart, but you could just click here. Oh, that's the practice pages. Oh, I see. Right, my mistake. So this would not be for starting from scratch. This would be if you wanted to restart. So let's go back. If you actually wanted to start from scratch with the inner critic pattern, you would go here to beginning, explore a new pattern or capacity. You'd find the list of patterns, or list, if it was a capacity, list of capacities. Here's the inner critic pattern. You click here, and that would bring you back to the beginning to start on that. Okay, so we'll close that, close that, close that. Okay, now, this doesn't apply. Okay, what to do next? Now, the inner critic pattern is just one of many patterns. Oh, this is something I've already discussed, right? If you want to start in a new pattern, click here, and if you want to restart a pattern you've already started, click here, and then the other thing I mentioned is the to explore list, which you can reach from your dashboard. Okay, I think that does it. So that is the end of the conclusion stage.